So this week's parsha is Parshas Korach. Parshas Korach, and in the parsha, we're going to look up in Perek Yud Ches. That's chapter 18. We're going to look at chapter 18, Pasuk Yud Zayin, verse 17. So we're on chapter 18, verse 17. Here, on page 834. Here in the middle of the whole, this is all about Kohanim, right? This week's parsha. This was where Korach wasn't happy that he wasn't picked to be the Kohen, and therefore he was jealous, and his jealousy led him to be killed. Well, he also did a lot of things wrong. His jealousy caused him to do a lot of things wrong, which we see from here, right? One mitzvah causes another mitzvah, and one avera causes another avera.
Is that like in the mitzvah not to covet your neighbor? Is that like that? Is he going against that?
Yeah. Well, he was. Yes. He was jealous of that position, and he coveted that position to be jealous, and that caused him to do things wrong. It caused him to do multiple things wrong. He went against Moshe, and he claimed, Moshe, you're doing this for
Nepotism.
What?
Nepotism. Gross nepotism. So.
Right. What like what?
Because he gave Aaron the Kohen Gadol.
Right. And then not only that, but he claimed that all types of things against Moshe, and it led him to say things which were heretical. And therefore, because of that, you see from here that one thing leads to another. Person can't just say, well, he's just going to do this. You know, it caused him to claim against Moshe different things, and he was rebelling against Moshe and against Hashem. So therefore, you see one avera leads to the next also, right? A person, it brings down a lot of places in the Chumash that if someone hates someone, so he'll come to speak bad about him, and then if he speaks bad about him, he'll come to do something else, you know. So it's one thing leads to the next, and with mitzvahs, it's also the same is true. Someone does one mitzvah, leads him to do another mitzvah, and one mitzvah leads to the next. So that was the beginning with Aaron. And after it goes into that, goes into all the ideas of what the Kohen, what he's supposed to do, and what his reward is. He gets rewards. You give him the certain part of the animal, right? That is specifically for every korban, every sacrifice that we give these special gifts. And what is that? So there's a certain part of the offering that we give. The specific part is the thigh, I believe. So you go through their different gifts. Now, in reference to, in the middle of all of that, we look at this, I just want to show you that part also. Yeah. Now, so verse 17 it says, actually 16, actually, right, we start, that verse 17 is about redeeming a firstborn animal, but we have to start on verse 15. So there it says, Kol Peter Rechem. Any Peter Rechem. What's a Peter Rechem? A Peter Rechem is something that, the Rechem is a stomach. Peter is the first thing to exempt it. It's the first thing to come out of the stomach, the firstborn. So any first issue, whatever the firstborn, right, comes out of a mother, right, and it's determined by every mother, is going to be the firstborn. Lechol basar, to all, to any flesh. Asher yakrivu Hashem, that they will offer to Hashem. Ba'adam uva behema yelach, will be to you. Ach podoi sifte, you should redeem. Surely you should redeem. We say it with two types of words. We emphasize it. You should redeem bechor adam, the firstborn man. And then he says in the next verse, verse 16, but when is the mitzvah start to redeem the firstborn? Does it start the first day the baby's born, or the 8th day, or later? So on that, right? What do you think, Dave?
I was thinking the 8th day.
8th day is the bris.
Yeah.
Oh, answer is a month. There you go. And now, what is the significance of the month? Why do we pick that number? Why do we pick it's not the same as 8 days, right? Why do we pick that amount, right? So the idea is that after 30 days, we know that the baby is going to survive. It has a reputation to survive. Because till 30 days, we don't know if the baby will make it. So after 30 days, it's already it's going strong. Okay. Now, then it says a little further, how much does it cost to redeem it? So he says 5 slud. 5 of these coins. And he quotes it, Tiftei, right in verse 16. Ufiduyav, the one that's redeemed Riben Chodesh from a month, Tiftei you should redeem Be'erkecha with the value of kesef, of the value of silver, 5 shekalim, 5 shekalim b'shekel HaKodesh, by the holy shekel. Now, it's interesting that will cost, could be nowadays, it will be like around $125. That's what it costs. Okay, so that's the first verse here that we have to read. Now, because of this, it has to be, we're quoting Peter Rechem. That first verse was, right, in verse 15, it says, it has to be, right, in verse 15, Kol Peter Rechem. So we spoke out what the word Peter means. Peter means like to be poter, to exempt. Like the common way to say you're obligated, chayiv is obligated, and poter means you're exempt. So exempt is first issue that exempts the mother, that came out of the mother. That's the first. That's called Peter Rechem.
Expel maybe is the right word. Exempt is you don't have to do that.
Yeah, right. That you could say, right. That might be a very good. They write the first issue. Yeah. So the first thing that was expelled from the mother. That's the first point. Now, therefore, the question will be: let's say the mother had a miscarriage, and it was something that came out, but it wasn't a regular baby. And now then the mother gives birth to a regular baby, a boy, a year later. What's the rule on that? Is that baby a bechor or not?
No.
Oh,
The first baby or the second baby?
the second baby.
Well, it is. That's the first. Because you said 30 days.
You have to wait 30 days.
It's a miscarriage. It's not
That's
even born.
true. That's true. But so now, Mike is saying a good point there. On one hand, we see it has to survive 30 days. If it doesn't survive 30 days, it's not called a bachar. So the answer is you're right. But there's 2 requirements here. One requirement is it has to live 30 days. But there's another requirement is it has to be Peter Rechem. Has to be poter. Has to be the first issue that is poter the Rechem, which exempts or comes out from the stomach. So here the mother had a miscarriage, so that miscarriage was the poter, was a Peter Rechem. That was a Peter Rechem. So it comes out that the second baby is not going to be Peter Rechem. The second baby is not the Bechor anymore. Because it's not poter the Rechem. It's not exempting the stomach.
Actually, I think I heard that one too. I knew that.
This is a very common case that you always have to keep in mind. You know, a lot of people, they say, oh, you know, you had a boy, a baby boy, right? Obviously, this comes to say also another rule. Let's say you have, right, who is there to redeem? A baby son, not a baby girl.
Yeah, right.
Right, not a baby girl.
So also, okay, if one of your friends has a son, and you're like all excited, and you're like, oh, so you're gonna redeem your son. You can't ask because it could potentially be embarrassing for the family to have to divulge the fact that they had a miscarriage in the family.
Right, but it has to be. It will become disclosed because it is common practice that you have to know is there pidyon ben or not. It's a sensitive situation.
Yeah.
I'll give you even a bigger sensitive situation. Similar sensitive situation. But the first thing is that it only applies to boys and not to girls. So let's say a person has a girl and then he has a boy. So there's no pidyon ben,
Right.
because the boy is not the
Right.
Peter Rechem. We didn't exempt the stomach. Now, what will be? It has to come out through the rechem. The rechem is the stomach, but the part right, the stomach, that's where the birth comes out. Let's say a lady is having difficulty, so they do a C-section, cesarean. First boy, he finally gives birth to it. First boy, and it comes out a C-section, which means they have to cut the top of the stomach.
Coming out of the womb.
Still the same.
But I don't think it's called Peter Rechem. I don't think that's called coming out of the womb.
It is coming out of the womb. The baby's in the womb. Baby's in the womb.
We get the Gemara. No, it is in the womb. That's true.
I was a C-section.
Yeah. I was.
I was.
I think Einstein was too. And he was a preemie. Yeah.
What is it? Rabbi, Peter Rechem.
Yeah.
C-section. What's it?
Maybe it's not a car.
Why not?
Huh?
Why not?
You say it.
Because it's not Peter Rechem. Why? Because it didn't come out of the rechem. It didn't come out of the stomach.
Yeah.
Why?
Might be
Because
so.
he said maybe what came out of the top of the stomach.
You go in the womb. You go in the womb.
It's to go in the womb.
Through the womb, yeah.
Through the womb. And that, what is that? That means not through the regular stomach. It has to be through the birth canal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's something different.
And why go by? So she's still coming. She's still coming. She's still.
No, I'm saying, but in terms of this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the answer, right? It has to be through the birth canal. The rechem would be, right, rechem, maybe it's a bad definition to say the stomach.
Or even the womb. The birthing canal is different.
Huh?
But Ellie, what's interesting is that even the baby that comes afterwards is not a part, even though this one's
Right.
Right.
Right, so it comes out, right.
right.
Yeah, so it's a double-edged sword. This one is not pointer the rechem, it didn't come out of that birth canal, but it was in the womb, so it's not called that. If the next baby won't be the first one of the rechem of this birth canal.
I heard something like only like 1/6 of children or 1/10 of children actually you have to do this to redeem.
What 1/6 of firstborn?
Or no, 1/10 of all kids. Or so. It's
All
a small
firstborn?
percentage of all the children. It's a very small percentage you have to do this for.
Does that include firstborn?
Everything, all of them.
Also, yeah. Well, it's all. Well, we can narrow it down.
Because you have 5 kids, obviously. But even like how many families do you have to like? They have, first of all, 50% are girls,
Right.
and then you know then they have all the complications.
Right.
So it's a very small percentage.
Right. That's true. Yeah. That's why it's a rarity to have a pidyon ben. I'm saying it's not rare, but you need all these different conditions to be to qualify. I just want to read you these words here, how they quote it. They do call it the womb. They call it the womb, as opposed to a C-section where they would cut open the mother's stomach, the abdomen. Right. So here he says. So we read that in this case, after let's say birth canal open. Yeah, because it's Peter Rechem, it has to be opening the womb, right? Let's see Onkelos. What does Onkelos say on Peter Rechem? Let's just look at Onkelos next to the verse. It says over here. You see Onkelos in the Onkelos also. He gives like a translation. So the way he translates Peter Rechem is called Pasach Valda. Pasach Valda seems to be like the opening of the Valda of the baby, the first baby's Pasach Valda, the first baby which opens up. Could be maybe that's how he seems to say it.
I don't know.
Okay, so in any event, that's the idea here that it has to be from the womb, and it has to come out through there naturally and not a C-section. The C-section would be
whacking the ball.
that wouldn't qualify. Okay.
Like anything.
So those are a few laws.
Baseball,
That the
where's
C-
Well,
It's saying here that it has to be the boy.
Well, it's the same.
Has to be what?
A boy,
Oh,
first
Oh,
born
now
male.
where do we learn that it has to be a boy?
Yeah.
It says here, every first issue,
Okay.
I'm reading English.
Right.
Does it rain on the Torah?
Let any flesh.
I'm sorry, the rain on the
Firstborn sons of Israelites are redeemed for 5 shekels.
Which part?
I mean, it wasn't, it's called, I think it's called rain. It was like steels. and-
Those that are to be redeemed for 1 month shall you redeem.
Yeah, no, rain quite a bit, but
Which
it
high
was.
scores? They're all about the same, they're all
Yeah,
so
but reading the
so
commentary,
real offensive.
Yeah.
Saying the actual verse.
It rained quite a bit, but not.
So let's look up the source. I'll tell you one second.
It was more like a
Read
light
your
rain, but
text.
quite a bit.
I would say it implies the opposite. It says every first issue.
So what time is
Yeah,
it?
so the Gemara learns out on that. The Gemara learns that out.
I just.
Yaakov
figured-
ben-
What's that sect of Judaism? They're called, I think,
So-
Karen? You know
Okay.
Karen?
So we'll do whatever.
The
so-
Karaites?
Karaites.
Yeah.
That's Vav?
I have a friend who's a Karaite. Sorry, I don't answer his question. I'm sorry.
If you want, we can look that up. We learn out over there, Gemara in Kedushin. Gemara in Kedushin actually learns that out. This question is a good question, because you're right. What does the verse say? The verse doesn't specify. It says, you should redeem the first issue of the womb. So it's not clear. What does it say in the next verse?
To take them out.
It says kol peter. It says, so I say even more. It says
Right,
kol.
right, and then the next verse also.
Yeah, it's a.
Right, Ben
Yeah, you know,
Chaydish
like,
just
you know,
right,
find
and there
the
it doesn't say. And let me check, there's one more place in the Torah where it does speak about redeeming the firstborn, and that is in Parshas Bo, which was a while ago.
Yeah.
In the end of Parshas Bo, it also doesn't specify, I believe. Kopet Terechem B'nei Yisrael, yeah.
Like you have.
Kopet Terechem.
One thing's for sure, that's not good.
What's the Chabad? How do the Chabad feel about the Karaites?
Well, they took Torah literally.
Yeah, they take it literally. Is that
Oh, I think
you're supposed to?
And this is by Talis?
No.
No, because there's a lot of words which are not so clear how to explain them. Right, it says to put the tefillin between your eyes. Right, that's the verse that we read in the Shema. You put the tefillin, one on your hand and one between your eyes. Bein einecha. So the question is, what does that mean? Should you put it literally between your eyes? They learned you put it right between your eyes.
So why not that?
Oh, very good.
That's all right.
So okay, so that's why you need the oral
That's all
law.
I need.
Because the oral law will tell you when you take it literally, when you don't. It says also if someone cuts off their friend's hand, so it says in the Torah you cut off a hand for a hand. So does that mean eye for an eye, right? That's the famous verse, an eye for an eye, a hand for a hand. So does that mean if someone cuts his friend in the eye,
So,
you should hit him back in the eye?
A Talis or Mason, you
So
know.
the Gemara learns out, no, it's not literal.
It's
It's not literal. So that's why, right, such cases, this is a two classic cases that you need the Torah of the oral law. Right, it says you should pain yourself on Yom Kippur. So what does that mean, you should pain yourself on Yom Kippur? You should fast. How do you know you should fast? All the verse says is you should pain, the word, it says a word in Hebrew,
Yeah, I'm sure that can mean a lot of things.
right? So maybe you should sit on pins and needles.
Maybe you should just be very upset about your sins. You should whip yourself.
Right?
You can do that.
So therefore, you need the verse to tell you what it means when the verse says se'uneh. Se'uneh means you should be pained, means to be fasting.
The act of taking it literally cuts out the rabbi. So I don't need somebody to give me commentary to teach me anything. I can just read it and understand it literally.
Right.
Different thing.
Right. The Karaites don't believe in the sages.
So they won't believe in the whole Gemara.
Yeah.
Right. They say the Torah is literal. Every word, it is God given. So it must be telling me exactly what I need to know. But there comes a lot of problems, a lot of different things that we're gonna, all the things that we're gonna learn in the Gemara, all these different foundations, they'll learn up, you know,
If you take off that.
they don't care about that. So the whole Torah gets watered down.
As long, you can take it off.
Let me see if he speaks
When we
this out.
Take it off,
Yeah,
we have to reuse it.
but you said they do.
Yeah, the Gemara just says
Oh,
that
that
it's
was
one
it.
of the
That's
five
special.
obligations that a father has to his son. Father has, let's count up the obligations. First obligation the father has for the son is
Only time allowed to take it
food.
off, not leave.
Oh,
Clothes. could be that's part of his obligation. But the Gemara speaks out in terms of mitzvos. There are a few mitzvos the father has to do to his son. One is he has to give him a bris milah, circumcise him. The second thing is he has to redeem him. Third thing is he has to teach him Torah. Fourth, he has to marry him off. To get him married. Fifth is he has to teach him a good job. Teach him a good craftsmanship. Why? Because we learn out that if he doesn't have a good craft, then he's going to go steal. So you have to set him up for life. Yes, so those are the, and then there's one more who says that you also have to teach your son how to swim. Why?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Excellent. You saw this already. You were looking ahead at Rashi. You looked up this Rashi because Rashi says those words. Because maybe you'll go on a boat and he'll fall down and he'll swim and he'll be in danger if there's no one who knows how to swim around. So Rashi says your answer, you have to teach him how to swim. That's the sixth.
But not a daughter.
So, right, the obligation is not specifically on the daughter. It's a good idea to teach the daughter how to swim also. But these are the 6 mitzvahs that a father has on a son. Bris, Milah, right, Pidyon Ben, to redeem the firstborn, teach him Torah, married, craft,
swimming.
So that,
Not too hard.
right, those are the 6 things.
Right, he's called a minor.
Maybe getting married.
That's why you shouldn't take his sister.
Yeah, that might be the hardest one.
Back in the day it was easy.
Yeah. Shake hands and then go.
Make a deal with the other parents.
Yeah, no, their kids were more
Let me rephrase that.
adhering, they were decent, obedient. That was more.
Did he also shake wool
Yeah, now in terms of, I want to show you just to answer your question.
You ever saw him shake wool master? You ever saw wool afterwards?
First thing is, he says this idea of 30 days is that after 30 days we said he is not anymore a son who maybe won't survive. Right, a boy that maybe can't survive, right, who won't live out the year. That's called such a baby. So once we see 30 days, we have what we call an assumption. We have an assumption the baby will survive. So that's that.
So let me rephrase that. You should not take your
Now, in terms of the next point. So this is a mitzvah for the father, and then he says, let's say the father doesn't want to, so this goes back and forth.
Imagine that you could take his and put them in yours.
If it's a real one, if they're big enough.
Well, not the beggar, the strings.
No, I know.
Oh, the strings are big enough, yeah. Yeah.
There's a whole order how to do this.
Well, I don't know, I'm not sure.
The main
Yeah.
6 must be enough not.
Yeah.
No, the main 6 must be enough not. Not how.
Yeah, here we
how
go.
small it is.
And this mitzvah is by the boys and not in the girls. So he says,
Party friend, and you just showed me this talus.
yeah.
It's got like.
So the Gemara learns this out. The Gemara says that a man is obligated to redeem his firstborn son, and a lady is not obligated to redeem her son.
Around what?
And the reason why a mother doesn't have to redeem her son is because she herself is not one who is redeemed.
Right.
Right, that Gemara there. So we could even check that up. That's this Gemara here. Right, because only someone who's obligated to have them to redeem themselves is obligated to redeem someone else. And how do you know that she's not obligated to redeem herself? Here we go. So we say, yes, the Gemara learns out further. Yeah, okay, so it keeps on going. There's a kol b'chor banecha. Here you go. So if you look up that verse, I want to just send you for 1 minute. You have it. Just remember your question. You got your question.
Mm-hmm.
One more thing. I just want to just turn to the end of Parshas Bo, which was back a few parshas. There, I glanced at this. I wasn't sure if I could say this on my own, but now I see that the Gemara. This is the source. Page 364.
Yeah, but the bottom, when it wrapped around, it was actually almost another, like, this was a mistake. So part of it was almost another design on it.
So if you see there, it says in verse,
In addition, there was sort of like another design.
you see what it says over there?
Different way of doing it.
Oh, right, it's verse,
Right at the end.
the truth is, it's even in two, see, even in a different place also,
Yeah, 15.
it's even in another place, that's one place. One place is because it says, here you go, page 364, it says, "V'chol b'chor adam b'vodnecha," tifta, in your boys, But I want to show you one more place, a little bit further, in a few Parshas down. Here you go, on page 512, which is almost an identical verse. On page 512, the third line. There it says again, Kol Bechor Bonecha.
Yeah.
There it's also very clear, and as David just said, there it's the male. So there, that's the source. That's the source of firstborn of your sons, right? That's how they translate
Why does
it.
God ask us to redeem our firstborn?
Spend the extra $2 in
Now,
strings.
to go into the, we have to go into the whole idea.
No, we have a question.
It could be just on the surface that we are indebted to God that we, the firstborn, were saved. When we left Egypt, all the other firstborn children were killed from Egypt. The Egyptian firstborns, they were slaughtered, right? Pharaoh himself was a firstborn, he was going to be killed. So, being that we were saved, we are, the firstborn have a special debt to God because that they were saved. Like, someone pulls you out of a burning house, you're indebted to them for life. This is the,
No, I think your shoes are also.
that's
Your bag is not
idea.
But all shoes are wool.
Let me just see if he says anything over here. Explain a little more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the strings are not polyester.
They have wool, you think so?
Huh?
I don't know. They have wool?
They're wool strings, just the strings are wool.
Oh, so now it's no
Yeah,
trade.
okay.
Everybody, even back then, we learned you should always make it out of wool.
Eve.
To bag it can be made out of different
Fine, so now, with that in mind, and that's the source, so because it says Bechor Bonecha in those two places, we learn that only boys. Fine. Yes, what was your question? That was
it.
Okay, good.
Because it sounds sort of like a tax to the color.
No, so there's more, if you want, maybe next week.
Is that rude to say that? Doesn't sound like this to me.
No, but there's a reason, right? So that's the main reason, because we're so indebted for what happened, that we were saved. The firstborn were saved specifically. That this is like sort of how we.
But to some extent they need a tax because they can't provide for themselves. They're being owned.
But they get all sorts of sacrifices given to them. They get like every single thing goes to the Kohanim.
They need money.
They get all, like you're supposed to get 10% of your income. They get all sorts of benefits, all sorts from everyone.
Yeah, but there's a
All
reason.
census money, everything.
Yeah, there is a reason. There is a reason why. This is not just by chance. Maybe it could have been the last baby, the middle one. This is the reason for this. Yeah.
You're not a Kohen,
I'm not going.
No, what are you saying? It's too much.
I'm not thinking it's too much. No, obviously they have a very important duty to perform, and they have to be. Yeah, they have to be compensated, of course.
Yeah.
But it's like every single time you turn, you nickel and dime.
Well, I think maybe that's, we learn a lot with like Korach. It's not that the Kohanim made up the rules. God made up the rules.
I don't know, better wrap your Hermes
Hey, let me see if.
So, yeah. Yeah, okay, that's a specific question.
Yeah, here he speaks a little bit more. We'll see. Maybe we'll see the Chinuch. Maybe I'll tell you another reason. Let me see here what. Yeah, in the selection of the firstborn. This was actually when Hashem did that last plague, the first hitting of the firstborn. That was an amazing feat because Hashem picked out who the firstborn was. Which means no one else in the world knew it. The husband, what happened was the husband saw two kids dying. The Egyptians were stunned because they saw in their house sometimes there were 2-3 kids dying, and they didn't understand why it's happening. What was happening really? Why would 2 kids die out of one house?
Was.
Right. So the answer is, right, that the wife, right, could be, if it's the firstborn, right, it's the firstborn from the mother. So it could be that mother
You say you're not allowed to take off your strings.
Multiple wives.
Just
No, I
to put
think,
them on.
yeah, I think it's multiple
On,
wives.
you know, on your keychain.
One second, so
You have to
the
keep them on another
husband,
baggage.
let's say he had a relationship with someone
You got a
else.
Yeah.
keychain shop.
Sure.
A lot of
A house
illegal.
a maiden,
Right.
a concubine.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the firstborn of that woman. and the
Yeah, so
next-
every firstborn was
Slave.
Go to business, they're
Yeah, but there were even more. There was even some surprises that they didn't understand, that they weren't ready for. They thought maybe the husbands didn't realize.
Why do you not?
Let me show you what Rashi says. I'll read you Rashi. Rashi will explain everything.
Yesh Ither.
Because
Because
they said we're all dying. If you look at the verse, in the 10th plague they ran and they were frantic because they ran to Moshe. They said, what's happening? I thought only the firstborn is dying. Look, we're all dying. I'll show you how it brings down here.
But if you replace, like if you took them off.
So if you want, you could turn there. I'll just show you the verse.
Oh, you put on a new one.
It's on page 356.
As long as you take off your switch, then you're okay. Yeah. What do you do with that environment? You may do them?
Yeah. So here, the verse states that it was 29, verse 29.
That's what below said.
That there in the middle of the night, and that God smote every firstborn. And then it says in verse 30 that there was a great scream, and every house had a dead baby.
Okay.
And it says, by the way, even more than that, if there was no firstborn, then the eldest of the house would be called the firstborn
Oh.
temporarily, right? He'll be called the Bechar. The Bechar was used to refer as the eldest of the house. Also, here it says that let's say the lady, let's say the lady would have a relationship with another man,
Then you can take
so
off the strings.
she would be now giving birth to his Bechar.
Right?
So here's that. That's why it's a little tricky. Because there, in this first, the smiting the firstborn, that there we called Bechar in terms of the man's firstborn also. So there the man, he was very surprised because he saw that 4 of his kids are dying. So he didn't understand. I thought only the firstborn. The answer was they were firstborn from him and from another 4 men who his wife had relationships with. So therefore that's why it says that not only that, that's why it says first of all. So let's turn to the next page. The next page on verse 33. There it says that Mitzrayim, page 358.
Yes, that's what
Verse
it's saying.
33, look at that, look how it says.
Yeah.
Look at the exact words.
They're all dying.
See that, you see the next word? What does it say?
Verse 33.
Why
Yes.
you want to sell it Dagoy?
358 verse
You want
33.
to sell it Dagoy. Sell the baggage. Yeah, you can sell it Dagoy.
They're all
Why not? Huh?
Oh, now what does that mean? Why does it mean they're all dying? The answer is, they didn't understand why they're all dying. And this is the reason, because they thought only the firstborn is going to die. And here they see 5 kids are dying. So the answer is because if their wife had their illicit relationships, so all the children if they would be from a firstborn, so that would be a Bechar in terms of that. Now, because of this idea that God, He chose and He was able to pick out every firstborn son from the house, from this wife, from this, right? It wasn't only, right? It wasn't only who the father knew, even if it was from another relationship, from a different man, if it was his firstborn, that was also killed. So Hashem knew how to pick out exactly who will be killed. So therefore He says, we see from here how God is intimately involved in everything that happens, and He knows exactly what's happening. Right? This is the biggest proof. He knows exactly what's happening. He knew exactly who to kill. He pinpointed. And therefore,
nowadays the Y stream makes up for the tailor.
So, but my question would be that Hashem decreed that.
Therefore, that's the idea that we are thankful that we were saved from that.
Follow after
Right.
Right? So then, if we don't have that blue.
Okay, that's a basic idea. Let me just see if the chinuch will give you a reason also.
And how does it remind you?
Just to expand a little bit more, if he says a reason, we'll give it.
The actual blue.
So he says he gave it
Well,
already.
really, it's the blue
Okay, he
also.
said he gave it earlier. Okay, now,
Go for it. The white
so let's go a little further now. So now we've got the beginning of this
Look at
halacha.
the back of the article.
Now,
It's nice.
the question will be,
I'll tell you all about what you're asking.
Okay.
about the.
Now, so we said the amount is 5 sel. You have to pay 5 slime, which costs around $125. Now, how much money is a person obligated to pay for a mitzvah?
Possible.
Right, now let's say we know, there's certain times mitzvahs cost money, it costs a lot of money. And sometimes it will be a little expensive.
People think
So the rule is, now we're supposed to also buy nice things. It says that you should get a nice lulav, a nice esrog. You should even pay for like a nice one. Now the amount of nice is a third more than the minimum value. So if you could get an esrog for $50, $40, you should pay, you should try to give a little bit more to get a nicer mitzvah, to show Hashem
All the rabbis together. All the rabbis
you
together.
pay $60
They
for
show him
that.
how to check if they-
But on the other hand, there is a rule also that you shouldn't spend more than a fifth of your belongings on a mitzvah.
Yeah,
Because the idea is,
Get to the right place.
the Torah does not want you to become broke.
That's your belongings,
I guess your total value, yeah, all your assets. So the idea is the Torah doesn't want you to go broke yourself. Because if you become broke, you're going to have to go collecting. So the Torah always makes guidelines that you shouldn't have to
They ate for the sake of
come on to people. Torah wants every person to be dependent. Which means even you should always buy nice things for Shabbos. It says that you should enjoy Shabbos. One of the 2 mitzvahs that the Rabbi said about Shabbos is you should honor Shabbos and you should enjoy Shabbos. So how do you honor Shabbos? Well, one way is you light the candles and you should have nice clothes. How do you enjoy Shabbos? You buy nice food. Right, we have meals. We should wash. We wash. That's why we wash, to eat bread, that we're able to eat bread. Bread fills a person up. It gives a person happiness, right? It says bread is what satiates a person.
Oh, that's different story.
Now the question is, let's say a fellow, he can't afford really to pay for such, for such delicacies. Is it better for him to go all out? Should he buy chicken or, but then he's going to end up
For example,
he's going to end up having to come on to people. So we say it's better that you should eat like an ordinary weekday. It's better that you should just eat bread and water, what you eat the whole week, and don't make it fancy and try to have delicacies to honor the Shabbos, because we don't want you to have to become dependent on people and need to collect money.
See,
the Torah gives a lot of priority to being independent and not having to become desperate and coming on to other people. Up to the point that it's willing to say you could forgo the mitzvah of enjoying the Shabbos.
That's what I'm trying to
Because
say.
we don't want you to become dependent on other people. So here too, it's the same idea. That's why the Torah is giving a limit. Don't spend on a mitzvah more than a fifth of your money.
Some people do it for different
Because if you do that, you're going to become dependent on other people, and you're going to lose all your ability to support yourself.
In Israel restaurant, I ask.
Now,
Says he wants chips.
based on that, the question we'll just have to think about is, let's say a person only has 5 slugs.
Yeah, they call it
Let's
like
say he
that in
has
the UK.
those 5 sela.
Is it right?
So then, it's an interesting thing to think about. Does he have to spend those last 5 sela on himself or on his child to redeem the child? That's one thing to think about. So the Chafetz Chaim actually speaks about this in Avas Chesed. The Chafetz Chaim, here it says over here,
Walk into the dark room,
In the dark
they
room.
stuff it up.
Yeah.
And then
Fat.
Yeah. So he says over here, in terms of doing kindness, here the Chafetz Chaim wrote a whole book on how to do kindness. How far does the mitzvah go, and all the different ideas of the mitzvah.
I think it's very good.
In terms of giving tzedakah, how much money should you give for tzedakah? Right, person will say, well, I'll give all my money, right?
But anyways, it's very
It is true, he does get a reward, and he could even test Hashem, they say, with giving charity. They say you could say, Hashem, I want to see if my business is going to improve. I'm going to give a lot of charity, I want to see if it will get better. That's true.
Can you imagine if
Supposed
you
to be
walk
10%.
Oh, now, so there's an idea to give 10% of the income to charity.
Right,
But
so there's that.
not more,
Chickens too, but I don't
not
know.
more than a fifth of your money should be paid. Which means you could pay 10%.
What if you have,
But because the
let's say you
animal's
have
heavier,
20 billion
so it
dollars,
press on their bones.
and you don't
their
need
lungs
it.
and their whole-
You can give
it's
95%
a lot more,
and live beyond anyone, beyond anyone.
And a lot of
So
them, they
your
check-
question you're asking, I heard Robert Berkowitz ask
Ramesha
this
said
question
that
one time. A big rabbi asked your question. It's a very good question. It's something to think about. Because he's not going to go broke, even if he gives more than 5%, right? Let's say let's say if a fellow has, out of, $100,000, if he'll give 10%, he's giving $10,000, he's still left with 90. If he'll give a fifth, I don't mean 5%, a fifth of his money is the limit. So out of $100,000, he's allowed to give up till $250,000.
This is why
He can't give $250,000 because it seems like then he's already pushing on the limit.
But they call
I'll have to look up your question. I want to think about it. I want to see what the reply was to your question. It's a good question.
They make you think, you'll never be able to guess that they
It was a
make
good
that
question. I
much.
think someone
If
even,
they added some, like,
even
words
someone
like
earlier
that,
asked
like
this. It's a big idea you have to think about. But that's what he says.
Okay, so
That in terms of tzedakah, we don't want you spending more than a fifth of your money because you're going to come on to be needy from coming on to other people. Now here he says here he speaks about your idea. If he's a rich man, so it seems, here you go. Chavetz Chaim.
Yeah.
You just intended on what the Chavetz Chaim says. He says over here, it seems that on him there was never the enactment. The enactment was never said on what he calls not just a regular rich man. He says ultra rich, exactly his words. Ashir is a rich, but not just a rich man. Extravagantly rich.
I don't know.
Someone like that, he says, it seems he was not part of the enactment when the sages said this rule, don't spend more than a fifth. He brings down the whole Gemara there, brings down a Tosfos. It was a story in, I'll give you a case. Story went to Gamliel, went on a boat. And he went on a boat on Sukkot. While he's on the boat, he sees that, what happened? He doesn't have an esrog. He doesn't have an esrog. So, there was one fellow on the boat who had an esrog, but the fellow didn't want to share it with him. Or the fellow didn't want to, whatever the case was. I don't know about his character traits. But anyway, the case was the fellow didn't want to let anyone use it. So Gamliel offered him $50, $100, he didn't agree.
Yeah.
He told him, I'll give you 1,000 zuz, which is an extravagant amount. And he bought the esrog off of the fellow for 1,000 zuz. So we see from here, this is the source. Rabbi Gamliel is very, very rich. And the source is 1,000 zuz, is obviously a fifth of his total belongings, total value. And he valued the mitzvahs. Rabbi Gamliel loved the mitzvahs and showing us how much he loved the mitzvahs. It's true. But how could he spend so much money? The answer is, says the Chavetz Chaim, that the reason is because since he was so rich, Rabbi Gamliel was ultra, extra rich. So for him, there was no problem of spending more than a fifth, because he won't go poor. He won't be coming on to the people. Even if he gives 1,000 zuz away, he won't even notice it in the bank account, let's say, or even if he'll notice it, he'll still be well off. So therefore they bring down from here that for him there was never an enactment. Very beautiful. Very nice. This is very, very nice what you just said. So therefore that's very important to know. So therefore someone who's...
It's a good problem if you can get it.
Yeah.
We should all have this problem. That's what comes out. He brings down another example. That Chavetz Chaim. Let's say a guy's getting older. It's getting to be 85, 90. And he has, let's say, $100,000. He knows he doesn't have more than a year or two to live. Could he give out? He has $100,000. Could he give $50,000? Right? He's right out of $100,000. He's allowed to give a fifth. A fifth is $20,000. Could he give away $30,000? Right? Or or even in such a case, this is a similar idea. So he says over here also the same idea, I believe. Yes, because over here it's the same idea. He's not going to come to be needy. So him also would be okay. And also he wants to say he can give however much he wants. Some say maybe a third or half, because maybe you never know. never know what will be. So that's the idea there with close to death. Okay, so here we'd have to keep this rule in mind, how much we could pay.
How do you get water?
Because in terms of tzedakah,
You know what?
the person is only obligated to give that amount. Yeah. Now in terms of
Right, but
What the Russians never did to America.
yeah. In terms of pidyon haben, so you'd have to apply that also, right? A person, according to this, the way it comes out, a person should not be paying for any mitzvah more than a fifth, unless maybe he could hack it, or some case would be that they wouldn't be going coming on. Okay.
The name of the Parsha this week.
Oh, yeah, they started putting on this. They got this new board, so now they put on the Parshas top Korach, and they just tell you to say like in Baruch Aleinu, when you ask for money, you ask that you should have a good year, full of prosperity. So there's two parts that we can put in. I'll show you what they say over there. So so in the summertime, when they say that part, so there's two parts to say. Depends if it's rainy season or not. So just in this part here, it's called the year of prosperity, where we ask for a good year, and it should be prosperity. So there we can ask for either rain, but we don't ask for rain in the summertime. Not in the summertime. Summertime, it's not the time for rain. It's more for the winter.
Never rains in the summer.
Never rains in the summer.
Never in the summer, right? But the idea is we don't want the rain in the winter.
You do want the rain in the winter.
I mean, we don't want it in the summer, right?
Nice little rain in the summer.
It's needed
You're not
because the idea is, when do we need it? In the agricultural season, you need it when it's growing. So therefore, we only ask for rain in that when it's agricultural, and therefore, maybe in the early fall. When's the early fall? When is that stuff? September, October, right after Sukkot, we start asking for it. Therefore, they write over here. Don't say these words when you get up to this blessing. Don't say, give us rain. Matar's rain. Don't say, give us the dew and the rain. Rather, substitute these words in these parentheses for the words Mesein and Geshem. Yeah, Geshem is rain. Matar is also a type of rain. It's a good point. Excellent. Wow, beautiful. There's two types of rains. We have to see. Oh, very good. Yeah, so there's two types of rains. But don't say, give us rain. Rather, we ask that we should have a prosperous year. The field should be good. But in the summertime, we say, give us blessing in the field. Right. Saying bracha. Put in these words. Don't put in these words.
Thank you. So telling you which words it's in.
After Sukkot,
Switch it back and the other side's
they're going to turn it around to give us dew and rain.
Okay.
Very good.
Rabbi, thank you very much.
Excellent.